Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review Woody Allen's Manhattan. This is one of the 5 movies that I was recommended to review. I tried to find the ones that would be probably the most popular, just to see if it would help grow the channel more, possibly. I think I already said possibly. But I didn't really know what to pick too with Woody's movies, because I knew that maybe if I picked what I was interested in, that we could end up with another situation. Because I picked those 2 movies that Safi and I watched, like Casino Royale and What's New Pussycat. 2 movies that, they're technically not his, but they technically are. And both were horrible, and they were so bad. They were so bad. They're probably some of the worst movies I've ever seen. And so I wanted to pick movies like this that, would be safe choices. And what's funny is that this movie is considered an iconic, popular movie. It's considered by a lot of people to be his best movie. And when I watched it, I was like, holy shit. Because, the other day I was talking about, the storyline in Crimes and Misdemeanors when he's with the 9-year-old girl. And it really feels like he's going out on dates with her. And even though he quote unquote isn't in the movie officially, but it really felt like that. And this movie, I mean, he literally took that idea and he made it into a full movie. I mean, in some ways I actually kind of really respect Woody Allen, because he had balls to do this. I mean, I'm sorry. This movie, it really took me by surprise. And that's another thing that I love about his movies too, is that they really take you by surprise. And that, honestly, I'm starting to really admire Woody Allen. Which I think that I picked the wrong time to say that after watching this movie. Because, well, all things considered, but it's just so cool how you can watch his movies and each one is really interesting. It's really surprising. It's a unique experience. And it's so cool. It just feels like that's the type of filmmaker that I want to be. Where each movie is its own thing. And, you get really surprised and you either really enjoy it or really hate it. But at least it's interesting. And so anyways, this movie, it's called Manhattan. And it is about Manhattan. And that's pretty much all I know. I plead the fifth. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But this movie is a really, really, really simple story. You have a guy played by Woody Allen, of course. And honestly, I love that. I love that. Nowadays, there are so many taboos. And I know that's probably the wrong word to use when talking about this movie too, but there's a lot of taboos just about filmmaking. I've had this kind of weird experience, where I've been working with people who, they don't really have much experience either, but they're so ingrained into, I mean, the rules are so ingrained into their minds. They're so caught up with technical bullshit, and they don't give a shit about the art or about acting or about emotion. All they care about is like, oh, would a film professor say this shot is good? That's all they care about. They have this weird mindset where like they don't understand anything. And so they make all these dumb shit decisions. And, but the reason why I'm saying that is that like one of the big things nowadays, and you see this all the time, whenever there's a character, because self-inserts have existed ever since the beginning of film. Okay, like I hate to break it to people, but ever since the silent movie days, self-inserts have been a thing. I mean, Charlie Chaplin, for instance, but like people act like when a character is like based off of the person who wrote the film, that it's inherently a bad thing. Like a self-insert is a bad thing. And I could say that like it could be a bad thing if it's like lazy, or it's just kind of like, like, oh, you can tell when it's bad. But when it's really good, it's really, really good. And the thing that I love about filmmakers like Woody Allen is that like he proves that self-inserts are actually an advantage. Because the way that, he writes, he's so thoughtful with his writing that he puts everything out on screen. I mean, he really lays it all out there for you to see, so that there is no doubt in your mind whether or not he's into certain things. And, it just shows a different lifestyle. And I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not. But the thing is that like self-inserts, like it's the same thing with like, for instance, I've had a lot of people like I'll shoot like a shot. Like for instance, I was shooting this scene last year, and there was this guy. He's made a couple of movies that no one's ever heard of, and he kind of came to set so that he could pretend that he's like helping out, so that he could network with people and shit. And but he was looking at these shots that I was shooting. And these shots, I purposefully tried to, have a lot of distance in these shots and have them be really wide and big, because I wanted to make the room feel bigger, and I wanted to make the scene more epic and make the character that I was filming more like epic in that way. But he was saying afterwards that like, oh, well, there's too much headroom. And so that's the kind of dumb shit thinking that you have in like the filmmaking industry nowadays, is that like, oh, who cares about the emotion of a shot? Who cares about like why you're doing the shot that you're doing? There's too much headroom. It's stupid. It's dumb. And it's the same thing with self-inserts. It's the same thing with a lot of creative choices that people make nowadays. And then you'll have these people, a lot of people on Twitter, and they want to complain about every single little thing. But anyways, that's the first thing that I'll say about this movie is that, wait, what was I even saying that led up to that? I don't even know. But okay, this movie's about Woody Allen. That's what I was saying. And now here, it's a little controversial. I mean, she's not 18, but Woody Allen's love interest in this movie, she is 17 years old. And he is dating her almost the whole movie. It's all a love story about him and her. And that's the movie. That's the movie. And then he meets this really ugly woman. And I know that she's not always ugly. Diane West or Diane Keaton, I can't remember. But she looked really weird and really like just ugh in this movie. And she is like a really boring, bland character, and she becomes his second love interest. and you think, oh, it's all this stupid conventional story where, like, oh, he has the fling with the underage girl, and then he breaks it off and hooks up with the older woman, and you know, it was like, ugh. Like, you know, because the thing is that this movie was really boring. It was really, really boring and dull. And it was such a beautiful looking movie. That was the sad thing, was that, like, the shots that they did in this movie were just unbelievably amazing. Like, I mean, this is back when movies actually looked good. I mean, this is a black and white movie, and somehow it looks a lot prettier than all the color movies coming out nowadays. So, but yeah, for such a good-looking movie, like, I'll say one of the greatest things about the movie is the cinematography, and there was a lot of shots where they were just in the darkness. And it was interesting because, as I was saying with the headspace thing, it's like Woody wasn't afraid to have his characters just wander off screen, or to just have silhouettes, or to have them be really small in the frame. And it just, there were so many shots like that to contrast with the more conventional shots in the movie. And it just, again, it reinforced the fact that, like, shots don't have to always look quote-unquote good technically just for the sake of looking quote-unquote good. They need to look good if they're servicing the story and creating, like, a mood and just showcasing the characters in a way that is that makes sense and that is emotionally good too. And there were a lot of really, really, really good shots in this movie. There was a shot near the beginning where it was just him and his group of friends talking, and they go under this, like, little, like, covering or something, and you know, it's New York, you know, and for a second it's like you can't even see them. You know, it's just pitch black, and it's like, wow. Like, that's just, it's so ballsy. You know, like, nobody would do that nowadays. Nobody would do anything in this movie that Woody Allen did in 1979. And that includes the whole plot about him and the 17-year-old girl. And so let's talk about that. I mean, let's just get it right out in the open and just, you know, go over it. Okay, like, look, I don't know how clear Woody can be about his personal opinions. I mean, it's really it's something, and I'm just trying to think of what to say. I'm trying to think of what to say because, like, look, it is very strange that the actress in this movie, she's really hot, by the way. I mean, after this movie, I mean, not in this movie, but she, like, right after this movie came out, when she turned 18, she's really, really pretty. And I know I've seen her in another movie, I think, because I did recognize her from when she was older than 17. And, you know, from when I found her attractive in the other movie where she was older. But, what was I saying again? It is really weird how the actress in this movie looks like Woody Allen's current wife, kind of. In fact, she even wears the same type of clothes that his current wife wears. You know, I was looking up pictures of him and his wife because I was just like, I want to kind of, like, remind myself of, like, who this guy is in real life and what happened and everything, and just see, like, just because it is kind of weird, like, when you look at him in real life and then you look at his movies and you're like, you know, are his movies really confessions? Or are they just, like, is it just a big coincidence? Because, you know, I don't know what really happened with the whole, you know, scandal in the 90s or whatever, but, like, you know, honestly, for all the weird stuff that he's done, it is entirely a possibility that, Mia Farrow made all this shit up because she saw this movie, and she saw Annie Hall, which also had like a pedophile joke in it, and she thought, ooh, that would be something that I could easily do. And people would believe it because he made a movie where he dated a 17-year-old who turned 18 at the end of the movie. Well, actually, no. At the end of the movie, they said they were going out for 2 years already. So he had been dating her since she was like 15. So yeah, 15 or 16. So, yeah. Well, I'll just say this, like, I kind of like that he made this movie because it's ballsy. And I like movies that, kind of don't follow the rules. I mean, he didn't hurt anyone making this movie. I mean, it was just a movie. He didn't, like, break any rules or anything. Like, he just made a movie about something that could actually happen in real life, just like Lolita and just like other movies like that, except Lolita was obviously a lot worse, in terms of that. But, like, I kind of like this movie. I like the fact that, like, he had the balls to do something like this. Like, I mean, this is just, they would never make this movie nowadays. And I think that we should live in a world where you can make whatever movie you want, as long as you're not hurting people in real life or whatever like that. Like, you should be able to make any movie you want. And so I really don't care. And I know that might surprise people, but I really don't. I think this movie's awesome. Even though it was boring, this is the weird part. This is the really weird part. By the end of the movie, I did a complete 360. Or is that what you would call it? Or a 180? Because 180 is halfway, and 360 is full way. I guess I did a 360 because, for a while I was like, okay, this is the worst Woody Allen movie I have seen out of the 3 that I've watched in this week. But still, I would watch it again because it's a Woody Allen movie. It feels like it's written by an adult, and that's another funny thing too, is that movies nowadays, they don't feel like they're written by people. They don't feel like they're written by adults. And they just have this feeling that, like, just there's so many agendas going on, like, just on screen and in the writing. And you have the thing, like, just so many things that are so irritating. And then you watch a movie like this. You watch a Woody Allen movie from the 70s. And it feels like it was made by an adult. It feels like it was made by someone who has a brain. I mean, it's just, I love the writing. I love the dialogue. It is, kind of full of itself at times. On purpose, though. And they even acknowledge that in the movie. But the thing is that by the end of the movie, they have this whole stupid subplot about, like, he falls in love with this other woman and she's really boring and ugly. But she is of legal age. That's the thing. It's like, obviously, he should be with her over the 17-year-old. But, it's New York! You hook up with 17-year-olds, talk about art, and then you hook up with an ugly 40-year-old. And then the 40-year-old cheats on you, and you gotta go back to the 17-year-old. That's New York! I feel like, it's New York. Like, I feel like that's something that you can say for anything that takes place in New York. That's all you have to do. Like with the whole Goosebumps show, the second season of that shitty Goosebumps show, all you have to do to dismiss any problems with that show is just say, it's New York! That's all you have to do. But okay, here's what happens. So, this boring bland 40-year-old character. I don't know if she was 40, probably like 30, but the haircut that she had was so bad. It was so frizzy, and it just made her look so much older, and she's looked so much better in other movies, which is why it irritated me. But this character, she before she dated Woody Allen, she dated this guy named Yale. And he's a married guy, of course, because there's always got to be a married guy who has an affair in Woody Allen's movies. She dated him. And then he decided that, he just wasn't, going to see her anymore. He wasn't really serious. He didn't really like her. But then he decided he actually did once she got with Woody Allen. And so then she got back with him. And at that point, I gotta say, guys, and I know that this is gonna make me sound terrible, but I really don't give a fuck, because it's a movie. At this point in the movie, I was saying, you know what? Woody Allen, just get back with the girl from the beginning of the movie, from the rest of the movie. Get back with the other girl. It is New York. It is the 70s. Okay, just get back with her. We understand. Okay, it's not that big of a deal, but it kind of is, and we're going to have a talk about this after the movie's over. But, because it just... these were the only characters in the movie. It was Woody Allen basically just said with this movie, you know what? If you hook up with a 17-year-old girl, and then you decide to get with a woman of legal age... If that woman of legal age ever breaks up to you, the only option you have is to find that 17-year-old girl and make sure that she doesn't leave the country. Because that's how this movie ends. And I will say, I was hating this movie. I just hated it. I wanted to just smash the screen. I hated it so much. But as soon as Woody Allen goes to visit Yale... the friend who cheated with his girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. Friends dating friends, basically. That is what I call musical chair dating. But as soon as he did that, that's when I started to love this movie. Because as soon as he did that, I was like, okay, the movie's finally going somewhere. And it's finally tying things together. And that's the thing that I'll say about Woody Allen's movies is that... you have to trust him. You have to trust him that he'll tie everything together, at the end. That he'll kind of wrap everything up in a really, really satisfying way. And that moment where he pulls Yale into the classroom with the skeletons, I thought that was so good. And the dialogue that they had, and this is probably in my top 10 movie lines of all time. Okay, so Yale says to Woody Allen something like, you think you're a god, or you think you're God. And Woody Allen says, I gotta model myself after someone. I mean, that is the greatest comeback I've ever heard. I mean, because, in a lot of these scenes with Woody Allen, his character is very full of himself. And to be honest, it gets on my nerves. And he does come off as very pompous and pretentious sometimes. But for him to be so, self-conscious about it and say well, I gotta model myself after someone, I just thought that was awesome. And so I loved that. And then, I gotta be honest, guys, I loved the ending scene. He wins back the other girl. And I loved that whole scene. It was a beautiful scene. It wasn't beautiful because of him. It was just beautifully shot. And the dialogue and just the emotion was so palpable. And it blows my mind because, I hate these types of movies. I hate, romantic comedies. Because... they turned them into chick flicks. After the 90s, they've turned romantic comedies into chick flicks, where they're very formulaic, and they're very, much oriented towards women and not really oriented towards men and everyone else. Like it just kind of seems like they're very one-dimensional and they're very niche, and I don't like them at all. And there's no emotion, and they're just so like shallow. But then I look at Woody Allen's movies, and they really make you feel something. And this movie really made me feel something. It's like, yeah, it made me bored out of my mind for an hour and 20 minutes. But then for the last 16 minutes, I really enjoyed those 16 minutes. Okay? Like, I really, really enjoyed those 16 minutes. And, I mean, you can say what you will about, the whole age thing and about how, oh no, it's controversial. Who cares? It's a fucking movie. It was made in the 70s. The woman who played the teenage girl, she's like, what? How old is she now? Let's look her up. Mariel Hemingway. She was the best actor in the movie, too. Like, I thought that she gave the best performance. Okay. 2025 minus 1961. She's 64 years old, guys. Get the fuck over it. Like, it's over, man. Like, she is long gone past 17. Okay, I mean, the most recent movie she was in was called God's Country Song. I mean, she is at the low point of her career. She's in her 60s. She's going to be 70 pretty soon. It's just, get over it. I mean, the whole age thing, like, it's over. Like, I get that maybe at the time, like, if that movie came out today, obviously there would be, like, a riot, and, there'd be some big Me Too bullshit that would happen, but, like, it's over, guys. Like, just get over it. It's a beautiful work of art. It's a great movie. I would watch it again tomorrow. And in fact, okay, I'm not going to do that tomorrow because I have to prepare for filming tomorrow. I've been procrastinating and just trying to work. I'm working on 4 or 5 projects at once. And so it just, every day I kind of try to find little things that I can do for each project. And it's just, it gets really overwhelming. And I've also, got to be honest, I've been getting tired of having to do so many reshoots and so many, like, additional shoots, because it just feels like the energy has already, been gone, from this project, and it just, I don't know, like, so anyways, I really enjoyed this movie. It also, too, it had kind of a documentary feel. I think that's another thing I liked about it, was that it felt real. It felt like these were real people. It was a real movie. Another thing I forgot to mention that was really gross, and I want to ask you guys about this because, when I grew up in a house that had a well. We had a well. We drank well water. So we didn't even have to pay a water bill. We didn't even have public water. We didn't have this gross tap water bullshit. So I had it really good, okay? I had well water at my beautiful house that will return in the future. And, but, a lot of people, they drink tap water, and in this movie, Woody Allen, and now there is also a plot where, he gets like a new apartment or something, and he decides that he wants to break in the bed with the 17-year-old girl. And so that is another plot point in the movie. And so that does happen. But there also another plot point is that is that he has brown tap water. And because the pipes are rusty, that is so gross. But there's a part in the movie where he comes home to his boring girlfriend, who, she's just the most boring girlfriend on the face of the universe. And he offers her a glass of brown tap water. And so my question is, who actually would drink that? I mean, seriously, oh God, ugh. It was funny, but it was gross. And I just imagining, why would you do that? And do people actually do that? Has anyone ever done that? Because I don't know how you're alive. I couldn't do that. In fact, I cannot drink tap water, okay? I tried to do that when we first moved here. In fact, we all tried to do that to save money because, to have to pay for a water bill after never having to pay one is just kind of asinine. But we just couldn't do it. I got COVID, and I was drinking tap water while I had COVID. And it was like a living hell. And I never want that again. And that was the point where I started buying bottled water again. As soon as I got COVID and I had to drink bottled water. And I gotta say too, just a shout out, Ice Mountain bottled water is way better than Evian water. And it's way better than Fiji. And it is the best bottled water. Just so you guys know. Now, let's get back to the movie about the 17-year-old girlfriend. So, in terms of food, I want to talk about, because I love Mexican people, okay? Nobody loves Mexican people like me. No, nobody loves Mexican food like me. I might as well be part Mexican, okay? Because I love Mexican food, and I'm just being a shithead today, guys. I'm sorry. But I wanted to, because I thought about the perfect equivalent for food with this movie is that there was this time in fourth grade, I had a teacher named Mrs. Dunn, and she was a real bitch. And she's Spanish. She's part Spanish. So she taught the class Spanish. And as part of her lesson, or as part of her curriculum, she took all the classes to the Spanish restaurant. And you're treated to an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And then after the meal was over, we had to say some Spanish words to the guy in charge at this Mexican restaurant or something. He stood outside and we all got in line and we all had to shake his hand and say the same Spanish words. It was really bizarre. But anyways, anyways, this is a classic, a 1980s type of experience, by the way. So this food, it's bad. Or at least it's just so generic. There was another time where Mrs. Dunn showed us The Golden Compass for some reason. I don't know why, of all movies, we got to watch The Golden Compass. But we all got to order from Taco Bell. And that meal was better than this quote-unquote authentic Mexican food that we ate at this authentic Mexican restaurant. Or it might be. I don't even know what the place was. I would actually love to find out, because I would love to go there just to see if it was actually really that bad, or to see if it's closed or something. Because that's gonna open up a whole can of worms. But anyways, so the first thing they did was they gave us a salad. And when I think of a salad, I think of lettuce, carrots, celery, tomatoes. I think of cheese. I think of dressing. Well, their idea of a salad was lettuce and a slice or two of tomato. And it was really gross, and I wasn't even eating it. I thought it was so disgusting, and so Mrs. Dunn actually had to tell me to finish the lettuce, to finish the salad, because I just hated it so much. And then for lunch, for the entree, we got to have one taco. And all it was a shell with ground beef and I think cheese. And that's it. I mean, it's just really, really bizarre, guys. And I was thinking, like, damn, like, you know, like, this is not a good representation of Mexican food. This is not a good look. It's just kind of like a giant disaster. And this is what every kid had to eat. We all had to eat the same generic, boring meal. And then this is where the meal got good. Was at the very end, all of us got our own plate of flan. And that was really good. That was the first time I ever had flan. And so that's what this movie reminds me of, is that it's like a very confusing and weird and just like boring experience. But then there's a part of it where it just surprises you and you just get really happy because you look back and you just think like, wow, that was an experience. So yeah. Anyways, please like this video and comment, and please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest reviews, because I'm not advocating for what this movie's advocating for. I'm just advocating for this movie because I think that, you know what? Woody Allen is a better filmmaker than any of the filmmakers who are making movies nowadays. Because the past week, I've been enjoying myself so much just watching every new movie that he made, you know, and just each time it's like it gets better and better, and then you get to sit with them, and you get to think about them, and you get to look back and be like, wow, I actually really enjoyed that movie. I actually really liked that part of that movie, and it's such a great thing. And it makes me actually really excited to continue watching his movies. And honestly, I just kind of like to watch every single movie he's ever done, because that's how much I've enjoyed these 3 movies. So it sucks for Safi because she's really missing out. You know, she's just sitting around watching Monk episodes, and I'm watching cinema. So goodbye, everybody. Hopefully see you soon if you're not, if you don't unsubscribe because I like this movie. Bye.